Now on CoastTV News.
TikTok's future secured, the U.S. set to take majority control over the platform after a deal with China. Fresh faces, new commissioners in Rehoboth Beach sworn in and eager to act. Fire funding, Bethany Beach firefighters say property taxes may be burning a hole in donations.
It was a cooler Saturday with clouds, and the cool weather continues into Sunday. More sunshine as the day goes on. I'll track it on Futurecast coming up.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
The social media platform TikTok stays online. Good evening, I'm Emma Aiken. Welcome to CoastTV News at 11. We begin tonight with a done deal between the U.S. and China. The Trump administration and China have reached a deal on TikTok to keep the popular social media platform turned on in the U.S. That's according to White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt. She says they're 100% confident a deal is done and just needs to be signed in the coming days. Leavitt says the new agreement will allow the U.S. to control TikTok's algorithm and data. She says 6 Americans will sit on the 7-seat board, meaning TikTok will be majority owned by Americans in the U.S. We have an update on a deadly motorcycle crash in Frankfort Thursday afternoon. Police have now identified the man who died as 22-year-old Michael Peterson from Millville. Peterson attempted a pass on 2 other motorcyclists, lost control, and was ejected before striking a traffic sign. Police say he was pronounced dead on the scene. According to Delaware State Police, a knife-point robbery took place in Milford Friday evening around 8 p.m. On your screen now is where police say the robbery happened, the Valero Shore Stop on Bay Road. Police say the accused robber went into the store, waved a knife around, and demanded that the clerk open the cash registers before stealing an undisclosed amount of money and fleeing the scene. No one was hurt during the robbery, according to police. And we're now going to take a live look into Dover. Our First Alert meteorologist, Bob Trihe, joins us. Good evening, Bob.
Good evening, Emma. We are seeing much cooler conditions on this Saturday. Remember, yesterday we topped out at 90, only 75 in Georgetown today. Cambridge and Easton 77, 74 in Ocean City, and lots of clouds out there. Right now, still mostly cloudy skies, upper 60s to around 70 in Lewis and Indian River Inlet, 68 Georgetown and Millsboro, 68 in Gumboro. And we're looking at dew point temperatures in the low to mid 60s, so it's still a little muggy as we have this onshore flow and pretty gusty winds right now, sustained over 20 miles per hour at the beaches. Not as strong inland areas, but a gust of 26 Indian River Inlet, 20 in Ocean City right now. And we're seeing quite a bit in the way of clouds, nothing in the way of rain. We did have some showers earlier for the eastern shore. Otherwise, it's just mostly cloudy. We have high pressure in control and the flow around that high basically coming in off the ocean. So it's a moist flow, and we're going to be looking at, well, mostly cloudy skies overnight. Here's Futurecast with temperatures by morning into the mid 60s. I think the clouds from the morning start to thin out in the afternoon, but temperatures still on the cool side. So if you're headed out to church, looking at mid 60s early on, and gusty winds and only low 70s into the afternoon. Unsettled into next week with increasing rain chances. More on that coming up in just a little bit.
Thank you, Bob. Rehoboth Beach now has 2 new commissioners. Chris Galanti and Susan Stewart were sworn in yesterday following the city's election last month. Galanti is an urban planner, community activist, and businessman, and says this skill set will add value to the Board of Commissioners. Stewart is a lawyer and a member of the Planning Commission. She says she knows what the city needs.
I think that is something that I'm going to bring to the Board of Commissioners, to be hyper vigilant and transparent in our communications. We should not be doing deals behind closed doors.
The answer to how you don't violate FOIA is you don't violate FOIA. I think Taylor Tedder's doing a spectacular job, and I think it's critical for us as a city to get behind him so this investment we made can pay off.
According to the city's website, Galanti and Stewart now enter into a 3-year term. And this brings us to our CoastTV poll. We want to know what you think the biggest issue is in Rehoboth Beach. Let's take a look at those results. Parking getting 71%, government transparency 19%, 1% for environment, and 9% of you saying cost of living. And if you want to vote, you still can at coasttv.com or using our mobile app. According to the Bethany Beach Volunteer Fire Company, the fire company is receiving fewer donations than years prior. Fire officials say they rely on donations to keep fire and EMS operations available throughout the year. The fire company thinks it could have something to do with property tax hikes. Take a look at your screens. Instead of donations, the fire company says they've been getting these letters. Residents saying property tax bills in Sussex County have gone up too much, leaving less money to give. But according to fire company president Brian Martin, those taxes don't help the fire company.
We have one local town that gives us a small donation every year, other towns that don't support us financially at all.
If you would like to donate to the Bethany Beach Volunteer Fire Company, head to CoastTV.com to learn how. A new Royal Farms will be built in Milton across from the newly built McDonald's. The project just crossed a huge milestone. On your screen now is a look from our drone at where this Royal Farms will be built. The money given to the store is part of DelDOT's Transportation Infrastructure Improvement Fund, and the decision was voted on unanimously at their meeting Wednesday. The improvements include things like new turn lanes, a new signal, a crosswalk, and stormwater management. Some locals we spoke with say the area is already getting too crowded.
I'm worried about the traffic, and I think we're close to the other Royal Farms, and we already have a gas station here.
Multiple people we spoke with mentioned the gas station already in Milton, the quick stop just up the road, either saying a Royal Farms could hurt their business or that gas station could use some much needed relief. Now to the gathering place, also known as the Dagsboro Church of Christ. That's where Minister Mike Mitchell delivered a fiery sermon recently. As Coast TV News anchor Christina DiRoberta shows us, the sermon ultimately led to his resignation.
My friends, liberalism is that evil. It is.
That's Minister Mike Mitchell of Dagsboro's Church of Christ in a recent sermon taking direct aim at liberalism.
Liberalism is godless. It is murderous.
Mitchell implied the church is under attack.
This church is vulnerable. They know where we are and what time we're here. And we can't give a liberal an opportunity.
And says he now has to carry a gun to and from work.
As I walk from my house to the church to my house, I have to carry my gun.
Sussex Pride and other organizations like Speak Out Against Hate are taking issue with the minister's rhetoric.
It was disturbing.
Sussex Pride director David Mariner calls the sermon hateful, even dangerous.
The language was inappropriate and went over the top to characterize a whole group of people as evil, to characterize a whole group of people as murderous. That's just inflammatory.
And other faith leaders are speaking out, like Associate Pastor Mark Harris of St. Peter's in Lewis.
I don't think those are Christian values at all.
Harris says he felt personally targeted by Mitchell's words.
He slams all liberals as being somehow domestic terrorists. He's slamming me, right? And I don't think of myself as a domestic terrorist.
Mitchell put out a statement saying his goal has always been to, quote, communicate biblical truth with honesty and respect. The Dagsboro Church of Christ says it asked Mitchell to resign from his position, which Mitchell agreed to do.
Minister Mike Mitchell also said in that same statement, quote, I have been canceled. I have lost my role as minister, my television program, and my social media page. Out of fear for my life and my family's safety, I have been forced into hiding, unquote. He continued saying he has received numerous threats against himself and his children. Delaware State Police tell us they received reports of Mitchell receiving online messages. Police say those messages were harassing but not life-threatening. According to the town of Ocean City, Sunday is the last day on duty for the Ocean City Beach Patrol. If you're hitting the sand tomorrow, Beach Patrol reminds you that their stands are currently farther apart, so find the nearest lifeguard and swim in front of them. If you're in the Lewis area tomorrow, you can participate in the 2025 Delaware Kidney Walk. The walk takes place at 10 a.m. at Cape Henlopen State Park. Organizers say the event raises funds that support research, earlier diagnoses, and better treatments to people fighting kidney disease. And Coast TV's Madeline Overturf will be there emceeing the event. We are just getting started here on Coast TV News at 11. Coming up later, Coastal Celebration, how Mare is spending their 25th anniversary with the community.
Here's a live look into Salisbury on the Spicer Brothers Cam 68. We only fall a few degrees tonight. And as we head into Sunday, remaining on the cool side with rain chances increasing next week. I'll have those details coming up. We'll be back in 60 seconds.
The coast saw it all this week. We'll have a look at that recap when we're back in just 60 seconds. From parking meters going dark to a new eye in the sky watching speeders on Route 1, there was a lot going on this week here on the coast. Charlie Sakaitis has a look at our week in review.
Monday marked the final day for paid parking season in a whole host of beach towns. You no longer have to pay for parking in Rehoboth, Dewey, Bethany, and Fenwick, though Lewis and Ocean City will continue charging for a bit longer. Tuesday was the one-year anniversary of medical waste washing up on Delmarva beaches. Some of our viewers will remember the waste shut down beaches from Rehoboth to Assateague. There's still been no definitive answer as to where that waste came from. Wednesday, a new historical marker honoring Harriet Tubman was in Dorchester County. The updated sign replaces the one that had stood since 1967. Thursday, the announcement that Route 1 is about to get its first speed camera. DelDOT says they'll be installing the cam just before the Nassau Bridge to catch speeders going into the construction zone at Minos-Conaway Road, so slow down or you'll get a ticket. And Friday, Rehoboth Beach's newest commissioners were sworn in, Susan Stewart and Chris Galanti. The pair will serve 3-year terms, and both of them expressed their excitement about getting to work. For your Week in Review, I'm Charlie Sakaitis.
Coming up, weed worries. Milton locals say Wagaman's Pond is being invaded by invasive plants. What DENREC plans to do.
We saw lots of clouds on our Saturday. As a result, muds cooler, 75 today, low is 66. Normals now 78 and 60. The record high is 90 back in 1965. Clouds linger into Sunday. It remains cooler with better rain chances into next week. I'll have your full forecast coming up in 2 minutes. Stay tuned. What a difference 24 hours makes. On Friday, we topped out at 90 degrees, and today much cooler into the mid-70s. We had lots of clouds and still lots of clouds as we go into your Sunday. Live look on the Gateway Subaru Cam at the beaches right now, looking nice and quiet. Morning clouds tomorrow, cool. Afternoon sun and breezy and temperatures in the 70s. And then later next week, it's going to become unsettled with the stalled out front, frequent showers, cooler temperatures, highs in the 70s and lows in the 60s. Here's our 5-day temperature trend. Last day of summer tomorrow, at least the last full day, 73. Fall arrives on Monday and temperatures pretty much close to average, 77. The average high is 78. We do warm it up Tuesday behind a warm front, 82 back to 80 Wednesday, and then cooling off Thursday as I think we'll start to see more rain building in. Right now we're looking at temperatures in the 60s to right around 70 in Lewis and Bethany Beach, Ocean City 70, 68 in Delmar and Gumboro, 68 in Georgetown. And those winds have been with us all day, and they're pretty gusty, over 20 miles per hour at the coast, now gusting to 25 at Indian River Inlet. Millsboro gusting up to 16, so pretty breezy as we're looking at mostly cloudy skies. We actually had some showers earlier on across the eastern shore, but now it's just dry, mostly cloudy as high pressure is still in charge. We're seeing some showers and storms with the disturbance back to our west, but I think we're going to keep it dry. And eventually a stationary boundary to our southwest will move to the north as a warm front and warm us up into early next week. And you look at the past week or so, and it's been pretty muggy, and I think we're still going to be getting muggy to humid as we go into the end of next week as we start to see rain on the way. And along the coast, heading into Sunday, lower 70s from Lewis to Dewey Beach. Bethany Beach, Chincoteague around 75 and gusty easterly winds. Here's Futurecast with the clouds into the morning hours on your Sunday heading off to church, mostly cloudy. But then I think those clouds thin out in the afternoon. We're looking at low 70s with gusty easterly winds. Moving into your Monday morning, a little cooler, 50s inland, 60s at the coast. And then into Monday afternoon, we're into the upper 70s. So just a little warmer and 60s and 70s at the beaches. And by the middle to latter part of the the week. We're looking at a stalled out front, frequent showers, possibly heavy at times, and on the cooler side with this front right over the top of us. So beneficial rains on the way. Here's Tropical Storm Gabrielle now getting organized well out in the Atlantic, but this will be a fish storm moving to our east, and as a Category 2. Could be kicking up the waves as we go into the middle to latter part of the week, but nothing all that significant. 64 tonight, mostly cloudy, breezy, and mild. 73 tomorrow, morning clouds, afternoon sun. Paul Davis, 7-day forecast. Fall is here, y'all. On Monday, 77, 82 on Tuesday, and then showers Wednesday, 80, and even cooler with heavier showers Thursday and Friday. Then by Saturday, looking a little wet and a high of 78.
Thank you, Bob. Fall is certainly on its way. On your screen now is what many Milton locals consider a jewel in town, Wagman's Pond. But now some people who live nearby are growing worried about invasive weeds in the pond. This week, we spoke with some people who fear the pond could be taken over completely. This is a highly invasive plant called creeping water primrose, and those who live nearby say it's starting to creep all over Wagman's Pond in Milton.
We're very fortunate to be able to live on the water, but what we see now is we almost don't see water. We just see this green weed on top of what we know is there.
That's Perry Higgs. He represents a group of pond property owners who say something needs to be done.
So the concern is, if we can't stay ahead of this, it's going to overtake Wagman's Pond, and that would be a huge loss, not to just those folks who live here, but to others who use the pond as well.
Higgs says most of the weeds are reoccurring every year, but says this time around it just seems a lot worse, which is why Higgs and his neighbors are urging DENREC, who manages the pond, to take action. In response, DENREC sent an email to the community saying it has a plan in place to deal with the excess growth, including treating the creeping water primrose with herbicides in the coming weeks. But DENREC tells us it could take multiple years to achieve a, quote, desirable level of control. And it's not just the creeping water primrose. This is the invasive plant called hydrilla. And as you can see, it can make kayaking and other activities in the pond a bit of a challenge in the areas where it's spread. DENREC says herbicide treatment is planned on the hydrilla for the spring once the plant has emerged but not matured. DENREC says Wagman's Pond is dominated by 3 very difficult to control highly invasive species, and that each plant requires a different complex approach for management. While it may look serene from above, for those who live here,
it's pretty discouraging.
The invasion is hitting too close to home. In Milton, Emma Aiken, Coast TV News. After the break here on Coast TV News at 11, heart health, signs to search for in one common type of heart arrhythmia. Death penalty fight, why Luigi Mangioni's attorneys say a fair trial will be impossible. Attorneys for Luigi Mangioni are asking the judge to dismiss a federal indictment that makes him eligible for the death penalty. Mangioni is accused of gunning down United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson last year. According to a court filing today, Mangioni's attorneys argue his constitutional rights were violated following, quote, a torrent of prejudice from multiple public officials. As a result, his attorneys argue it will be impossible for Mangioni to get a fair trial. September is National Atrial Fibrillation Awareness Month. AFib is the most common type of treated heart arrhythmia. It causes an irregular heartbeat, which can lead to serious, potentially deadly health problems. While the CDC says AFib will affect an estimated 12 million Americans now and in the future, some have no idea they have it. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has the warning signs to watch out for.
It's a common heart condition. Atrial fibrillation, or AFib, happens when a person's heartbeat becomes irregular and rapid. It can be dangerous, even deadly. In the U.S., AFib is the cause of about 1 in every 7 strokes.
The blood clot forms in the heart, and that blood clot dislodges. The first place it tends to go is to the brain.
Dr. David Singh with El Camino Health says AFib also takes a toll on the heart, increasing risk of heart failure and other health problems as well. Warning signs of AFib include irregular heartbeat, heart palpitations, lightheadedness, extreme fatigue, shortness of breath, and chest pain. But Singh says it's important to know that not everyone will have symptoms.
If someone is having AFib and they don't know about it, it can be taking a toll on the heart silently.
It's unclear why some have symptoms while others don't, so Singh says it's important to know if you're at higher risk of AFib. Factors include advancing age, high blood pressure, obesity, European ancestry, diabetes, and lifestyle choices like moderate to heavy alcohol use and smoking. Singh says AFib gets progressively worse, so getting diagnosed and treated early is key.
It's not the end of the world. We've got a lot of different treatment options available to you. And the most important thing is don't ignore it.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
There are many special things about living here on the coast, one of them being our marine mammals. Mayor, who helps rescue and rehabilitate those mammals, will celebrate their 25th anniversary tomorrow. As one of their celebrations, Mayor is inviting the public to watch a new documentary called Ocean with David Attenborough. The event will take place at the Cinema Art Theater with doors opening at 6:30 and the film starting at 7. The event is free, but you must get tickets from the theater.
It looks very informative. Here's our forecast heading into your Sunday. Off to church in the morning, lots of clouds, 60s and breezy conditions, only in the lower 70s in the afternoon, more in the way of sunshine. Paul Davis 10-day forecast. Fall arrives Monday, partly cloudy, 77, 82 Tuesday. And then we're looking at showers beginning Wednesday. I think heavier rain end of the week. It's cooling into the 70s. And I think that rain continues right into next weekend and the following week with cooler than normal temperatures.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News at 11. For more news and local weather, download our Coast TV News app. Saturday Night Live starts right now. Have a great night.